What is going on, everybody? This is your boy again, Efren Tinoco from North Memphis, but I'm not in North Memphis. I'm actually just a few blocks south of where I'm at, where I'm usually at, filming in one of our two large inner city parks, Overton Park, and in the adjoining neighborhood of Overton Park, along Overton Park Avenue. Anyway, this is one thing we have in Memphis is a whole mess of trees. Tall trees provide canopy cover in many neighborhoods, rich and poor alike in this city, and I'm very grateful for it. Trees, of course, regenerate our oxygen and they provide shade. They house cool little things like birds chirping in the mornings. Oh my gosh, I am so in need of a haircut and a shave. Come on, why didn't y'all tell me this? But anyway, another thing around here, I'm not going to disclose my exact location, but there's been this early colonial Spanish villa along the street that I'm like totally jonesing after. I'm gonna make an offer, whether or not they're selling. If one of my stocks ever really pops in the next 3 years or so, but yeah, I mean, can y'all see it? Is that thing not a thing of beauty right there? Oh my gosh! If I were to build myself a house, it would be for the sake of structural integrity, either made from the steel from old shipping containers, or maybe on the outside I'll make it anyway. I'll make a Spanish colonial villa facade around the steel of old shipping containers. That's a sweet looking house. I want one like that. But anyhow, couple of people of color I want to highlight who have made some not so celebratory but very significant quotes in speeches. One Van Jones and one Kamala Harris. Now, Van Jones is a journalist turned activist. I think he has frequent appearances on MSNBC, I think. Anyway, I agree with about 80-85% of things that Mr. Jones says. But anyway, one of the things that he said, especially around the Dakota Access Pipeline protest, in which a few people died, but many were harassed by multi-agency and mercenary security personnel over the course of their protest 5 years ago. 4.5 years ago. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. So Van Jones gave a pretty rousing speech of support for the protesters at the Dakota Access Pipeline about right at 5 years ago. What he said was, "Water is life and oil is death." That is not, and furthermore, this is his quote, this is not hyperbole. No, it's not hyperbole. Much of the oil reserves around the Gulf of Mexico, I'm sure, were created by a massive death event. This massive death event was actually, it bridged one era of paleontology into another area. I don't know which two eras it signaled, but 60 or so million years ago, 65 million years ago, I believe, a massive comet hit off the coast of what is now the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, uh, in what is today the Gulf of Mexico, and left a huge indention in a dent in our crust, and caused tsunamis and basically clouds, toxic clouds and hot, superheated clouds of particulate matter to spread all the way around the Gulf of Mexico and into the Caribbean, and caused massive death. So imagine all the big ass dinosaurs dying at once in an area way, way out. There's even a layer in the canyons of Utah and Colorado where you can identify what is 65 million years old, because of how of when the particulate matter would have reached that far. So this massive death basically turned into the massive oil reserves that we know we have off the Gulf of Mexico, in and around the Gulf of Mexico, up in even as far north as Kansas, probably, with that oil. But Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, Louisiana, on our end, we know there's oil in Florida, Alabama, but we dare not touch that because of the environmental sensitivity. And where that unfortunate ocean fire occurred off the coast of Mexico in the southern Gulf, occurred last month or so, or earlier this month. So anyhow, yeah, oil is death. I mean, you can look at other super volcano generated death events, massive death events for plant matter. Like, why does Wyoming have a lot of coal? Well, probably a Yellowstone eruption for back in the day. Why does Europe have a lot of coal as well? Well, probably super volcano in Russia 200 million years ago or so. Just like one of these big ass open calderas, or series of calderas that affected the whole planet. Anyhow, okay, so oil is literally death. Things that we burn, like we brought out of the ground and create gases, greenhouse gases, that's literally death. Water is literally life. Kamala Harris was quoted recently in a speech, and it was not celebrated. I mean, it wasn't made a big news around by any of the networks, but she said that wars today are fought over oil. Tomorrow's wars will be fought over water. Yes, I believe her. Kamala is a champion of war. Whatever she says about what wars will happen is a reflection of the people that she is looking to defend, because of the fact that she is supported a lot by the military industrial complex. When she speaks of war and about future wars, I'm going to say that, yeah, she's speaking with some sort of expertise, not because it's expertise, but she's she's being prophetic in the sense that one's own future intent is prophetic. Okay. Yeah. She's there to support our wars. Make no bones about it. That's why her basically disqualification from the presidency as being decapitated during the debates was such a sin for Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard basically ostracized from the Democratic Party after decapitating Kamala Harris in the debates. That was a no-no. In the same way Elizabeth Warren committed the sin of decapitating another favorite person, Michael Bloomberg. I guess they told Bernie not to decapitate Biden in the debates, which he certainly well could have. He was like, "What are you doing?" go in for the kill. No, it didn't happen. But anyway, so why do we bring this up? What happened? The events leading up to the basically the abandonment of the Byhalia Pipeline project by its sponsors and promoters, which basically would have taken oil over a pipeline directly from Tennessee's only refinery at the President's Island / McCarroll Lake Oxbow of the Mississippi River, taking it over some of the, through eminent domain, some of the oldest land holdings in Memphis, primarily African American, through southwest Memphis, Boxtown, over Mississippi wetlands and over to Byhalia, Mississippi, about an hour away where we are right now, to a fuel terminal, to a convenient fuel terminal, where I guess it would be trucked to wherever it needs to go. Two big problems with this. First of all, the environmental justice racism issue over southwest Memphis, which is a very old but a very economically distressed area for some parts of it, over but definitely all in predominantly African American, like almost exclusively African American area of the city, over basically on the highway exits toward the Tunica casinos. So that was one problem. Other than the environmental justice problem from a racial point of view, as far, these lands were over the recharge zone of a very pristine and viable aquifer, and massive aquifer that provides the Memphis area with its drinking water, and some of the best drinking water in the world. Any of you guys in New York say you got awesome drinking water, you don't have been to New York. A lot of Memphians have been to New York, and y'all don't have better drinking water than we have in Memphis. But if all of a sudden it would have come to the point where there was a seismic event or other kind of spill motivated near the on the wrong part of the pipeline, either on either end, would have been near a recharge zone on either end of the pipeline, whether it be the refinery end or the terminal end. That would have been it. That would have been no more use of our aquifer. So we would go from, like unfortunately many parts of this country, to having to depend on our water from the bottled water companies and not out of our tap. I drink it straight from the tap and then filter it, basically for the chlorine, which is used, which is added to in our treatment plants, just to basically make sure nobody gets sick from microbes. So it's all it got. It's like a very the water. The worst thing about the water coming out from the tap in Memphis, Tennessee, is it has a trace amount of chlorine to get rid of pathogens. So you just filter those out, and you have wonderful water come out of those taps. But it's why we have such a viable craft brew or small batch local brewing industry here in Memphis, because of the quality of our water. Make no mistake about it. It's a very cheap input around here. It's cheap and available, but all of a sudden, if they were to destroy the source, then water around here would become much more expensive. And for people since we are a poor city, many people living below the poverty line, It would be a economic distress to have to drink bottled water from the store. And it would be an economic boon for Coca-Cola, Nestle, Poland Spring. I don't know who does Poland Spring, but a lot of the bottled water companies, a lot of them that have different brands. The corporations are branded differently from the actual brands of the bottled water, so this stuff is kind of hidden. So anyway, so now you see the reasons behind the zeal behind the fight for bottled water, for water in Memphis, Tennessee. What made this broad coalition come together in a fight that was centered around a very depressed neighborhood, marginalized neighborhood of Memphis, or sector of Memphis. Um, so, um, so Kamala was right. There will be literal wars, starting out as skirmishes, political skirmishes, like happened in Memphis. But yeah, we'll take it to a war. I mean, I promise you. You can't. I mean, Memphis is a hood ass city, but it'll come together for for something like this. And a lot of people are. This is not the right place to start screwing around with our aquifer. You probably need very heavy military equipment to keep the people at bay here if you fuck around with our water, for sure. And I hope many of you who are listening, who are from Memphis, are willing to, basically get in this, maybe they come to a literal physical battle, but definitely will remain a political battle for the future. Kamala Harris is not wrong. There is economic interest, whether it be for oil or for water, in disrupting our pristine water source, especially where other municipalities lose the access to clean water. There will be other Flints. There will be larger cities that suffer the same fate as Flint. Oh my gosh, the owners of that villa have arrived home. But color me jealous. But anyhow, so as even more than what a Texan would say, don't mess with Memphis. This is a warning to people who would mess with our water supply. We're learning how to work together here on this issue. And I don't think it's going to be as easy as any of you thought to fuck up our water. Okay? This is your boy, a friend Tinoco, keeping it real here off of Overland Park, Midtown Memphis, Tennessee. Adios.